I'm Pastor Kevin, and one of the key things that we as a church mention is that we want to be a missional community. And so what does that mean to be missional and in a community? Well, I want to go take a step further and actually call it missional discipleship. Discipleship happens in community as the church together. Yes, we want to do discipleship one-on-one or one within a small group, but either way, we're called to do discipleship together. And that's a big part of being a missional community. Being missional, first of all, means to be on mission on God's direction. So we really want to be doing what God has called us to do as a church. And again, that's to make disciples for Jesus Christ. That involves evangelizing. Now, evangelism is the starting point. It's not discipleship yet, but in order to make new disciples, you have to reach them, the lost, with the gospel. And when they come to faith in Jesus Christ, then that is the very start of their journey of discipleship. They have become a disciple of Jesus Christ, but that's still a whole process that we go through together. And we need to do that in community. So once a Christian has come to faith, they're not a Christian before they come to faith, but once they come to faith, they are a Christian. And they need to grow in relationship with God. So here's one of the points we've listed here for missional discipleship. Once a person becomes a Christian, they are a disciple of Jesus Christ and needs to be discipled. While there are many ways, both formal and informal, to disciple a person, there's a need to be involved in missional discipleship. Missional discipleship is intentional life-on-life discipleship. It may be in the context of a one-on-one relationship or a small group, 4 to 8 people, but in small group relationship. Either way, each Christian needs to be involved in missional discipleship. This is expected of all who consider NLCC to be their home Christian assembly. We do, as New Life Christian Community, do expect that anyone who's a part of our church community, our assembly as Christians, that we are involved in discipleship together. And yes, people who come, there may be some who aren't in missional community together with us, even though they're part of New Life Christian Community. But it's really something that we do emphasize, that we need to be in part of discipleship together. And so we really do push that each person needs to be discipled and be a part of missional discipleship. As this point makes, that we are doing it life on life. It's intentional, formal and informal together, because it's so important for us to be discipled, to grow in relationship to God. It doesn't matter how long you've been a Christian, how immature or how mature you are as a Christian. All Christians need to be discipled. It's not good enough to just get your fire insurance, but to grow in a relationship with God together. So we want to be on mission together in community, in discipleship together. Next point here is missional discipleship involves teaching the practical side of the Christian faith and teaching theological or doctrinal truths. That is a very important part of discipleship, because if we're not teaching people to grow in the relationship with God and how to serve and love God, then we're not discipling people. In our description of a discipled person, we list 8 characteristics that we want to grow in each person who is a part of New Life Christian Community. And yes, that happens over a long period of time, because there's so much for us to grow in a relationship with God and in the Christian faith. So it really is life on life, and does take a lifetime. So as long as we're continuing to grow in a relationship with God together, that's the key factor. And we all grow at different rates. Finally, missional discipleship involves being involved in ministry together. That is a key thing. Yes, we could do ministry on our own, but it's better to do it together. It's a way to encourage each other to build the church together. So when we evangelize, yes, we may be the one person to share the gospel with our friend or neighbor, but we want to have opportunities to invite them to come along too, to meet other Christians, so they come to faith in Jesus Christ. But it's also in discipleship too. We can grow in community with that too. Yes, we need a pastor or teacher in the church who can rightly teach God's word and rightly teach how to study God's word. But there's still a point that we still learn from each other too. It's sharing our testimonies together, what God's doing in our lives. It's sharing with each other what God's teaching us. And when we're incorrect in what we're believing, that we're correcting that together with gentleness and kindness. So missional community is about missional discipleship, that we're on mission together, that we're doing life together, that we're growing a relationship with God together. So that's why we want to be missional community. We're involving each other's lives and growing together, in relationship with God together.